Welcome to our next tutorial of Mesh to Surface for Solidworks, the freeform. As we learned so far how to create faces, how to duplicate them, you can play and create your own shapes, but the power of our freeform modeling is mostly toward the reverse engineering. So we will start by importing a mesh. You can download this mesh from our tutorials page and you can practice with the same example. In this case, I will make sure that I don't map Z to Y axis. Just make sure that this is unchecked. Now you can see the object on the screen, and if we explore, I'll put it on top view, you see that it's symmetrically, it's well aligned, so we have a symmetry of the object. If you don't have a symmetry, you can use our additional tools for primitives to create a symmetry plane to align this object properly on the screen. But for me, this is good enough now, and I can start my freeform modeling. I will just place it in a comfortable position and we'll start my modeling. The way we start is just with this freeform button. You know how to create a face, and probably the standard approach of doing this is just by creating a single face on the screen, just by clicking for points, and then you start dragging and adjusting your position of how this can be done. Now it's the time to speak about the advantages of our product. And this is what we have, which is called a snapping mode. This is one of the most powerful tools that will help you to actually reconstruct this. So I will just delete my start face and will place my object comfortable and will make sure that the snapping mode is turned on. This will mean that whatever I do on the screen, the software automatically will place the freeform surface that I create onto the mesh. So let's start and create our four-sided face. I will just click here, here, and here. This created my first face, and if I rotate, you can see that it's actually snapped on the mesh. I will undo again and start, and we'll click on the mesh, outside the mesh, and here. So what happens now is that when you create your face, when you click, if you don't click on the mesh, it does a ray tracing. I mean, from the viewport, it tries to hit a mesh underneath, and if there isn't, it just places this point somewhere in space, which in our case is not good enough. So what I need to do is just take this point, drag it, and drop it on top of the mesh. So now we are ready to go, and we can just use our standard approach with the duplicate mesh, and I will duplicate my face. When I drop it here, you can see that it's automatically snapped to the mesh. Let's try to do this and drop it. So you see how easy it is. You can just start building your shape only by dragging your points over the mesh, and they will be just snapped. A bit more about the visualization here. Now it's the time to speak about this. We can just control the transparency of our surface here. So if I use the slider, you can see that the main surface is transparent, and you can see through it and see the underlying mesh. Or you can also play with the way how the mesh is displayed. There are two options for the mesh to be displayed. One is called offset, and the other one is transparent. If we get easier, it's the transparency. You can simply just change the transparency of the mesh so you can see what it's underneath and how you can manipulate here. So in some cases, this is quite useful. But there is another option which is called offset. What offset does, if it's placed to the maximum, there is no offset at all, actually. You see that the points are here, but my surface is going into the object. which is normal because it doesn't have enough resolution. So technically you don't really see where your surface is. For this reason, we allow the user to just only for visualization purposes to offset the mesh slightly behind my point of view. If I zoom in, as you can see, this mesh is kind of an offset. I can play a little bit more. You can see how I adjust this, and the mesh is displayed slightly behind the object. This is quite useful, and so you can play and adjust your visualization for the ease of use. This is for this tutorial. Just play a little bit. You can try to duplicate here, and the next video we will try to build actually our more professional shape that will follow the curves here. Thank you for watching.